Aloha, I'm Lahaina Lee, and I'm here to tell you, being on a list, it's not the same as being rezoned. If you own a condo in one of the buildings named in the county's new hotel zoning resolutions, your phone might have rang a few days ago, and the message was probably some version of the same thing. Your building is getting rezoned. Well, I'm here to tell you as gently and as clearly as I can, that is not what happened. Not yet. It's not rezoned, and you have a ways to go. The gap between what people think happened and what actually happened is wide. It's wide enough that folks are making decisions worth hundreds of thousands of dollars inside that gap. So let me close it. Today is August 2nd. Here is what the council actually did, and the reason I gave you today's date is because this topic is time critical, and the date matters more than almost anything else I say. On July 24th, the full council voted 7-1, twice, to advance two resolutions. They're numbered 26-110 and 26-11. Together, they cover something like 2,000 vacation rental units. But here's the word that matters. They were advanced, referred, sent onward. They were not enacted. Because a resolution is not a rezoning, and that is kind of the whole point of this episode. If you remember nothing else, remember this. 2610 and 2611 are procedural referrals. They start a formal review process, and they do not change the zoning of a single property. Your existing zoning stays in effect until a completely separate ordinance is passed months from now at the earliest. On the list is not rezoned. On the list means the paperwork started moving. That's all it means. To clarify the two resolutions, 2611 covers properties that the county says already function like hotels. 24-hour front desks, property-wide housekeeping, full-time, often unionized staff. The argument here is simple. Rezone it to match what it already is. 2610 is the broader, more mixed bucket. It includes properties that have timeshare or leasehold or single ownership variance properties. It's a more complicated category and a more debatable one. I'll put the links to both resolutions, the actual county documents, in the show notes and in the blog post. If somebody tells you your building is on the list, don't take their word for it, and don't take mine. Go read the documents. These lists have already been amended more than once. Now, here's the whole road from resolution to actual rezoning. 7 steps, and I'll tell you exactly where we are on it. Step 1. Bill 88 created 2 new hotel zone districts, H3 and H4. That is done, but that step only built the containers. It rezoned nothing. Step 2. The council picked the first group of properties and referred them. That is what the late July vote was. Advanced, referred, sent onward, not enacted. Also done. Step 3, Planning Commission review. This is where we are right now. The commission holds hearings, takes testimonies, checks the proposals against the general plan and the community plans, and makes findings. As I record this, there's not yet a firm hearing date on the calendar. Step 4, the commission makes its recommendations. And here's the part people miss. The commission does not enact anything. It recommends. It could be approval, denial, approval with changes, or removing individual properties. Step 5, it goes back to the full council, which then decides whether to adopt, amend, reject, or defer. Do you get the feeling something circular could start to happen here? Step 6, it goes to the mayor. The mayor could sign it, veto it, or it could become law by lapse. And this one is interesting because Bill 88, well, I never found out if he signed it. And by the time this comes around, we will have had an election. Step 7 is the promised land, the effective date. And only on that day, at the very end, does your zoning actually change. So count it up. If your building is named, you've finished steps 1 and 2. You're standing at the front door, step 3, with 5 steps in front of you. Now, let me clear up one of the common misconceptions that I'm hearing from owners because it's causing a lot of unnecessary panic. People think this is a full all or nothing thing. They think if the commission has a problem with one property in the resolution, the whole thing goes south and every building on it loses. That's not how it works. Somebody made exactly that argument to the council, and it was all or nothing, and the council members corrected him on the spot. No, that's not the case. The commission can look at these property by property. It can recommend the approval of one building and removal for the building next door based on the facts of each one. And it cuts both ways. One vulnerable property does not sink the strong ones around it, nor do the strong ones around it carry it across the finish line just because it shares a resolution with the better positioned neighbors. So the real question for you is not will the whole resolution get passed? It's how does my specific building look on its own? And that's a question for your board and a land use attorney, not for your Facebook group. So the obvious question is, how long does all this take? Here's the one estimate that is actually on the record. When the Planning Commission talked through this hotel zoning framework earlier this year, commissioners said the zoning process could be done in something like 4 to 6 months once it gets going. They called it relatively straightforward. Now, please take that as an expectation, not a promise. It assumes the paperwork is complete, the hearings stay on schedule, and nothing gets kicked back for more work. Any of those can stretch it out. But it is the closest thing to an official timeline we have. It points to months, not years. As I record this, there's not even a firm hearing date on the calendar yet, so that clock hasn't visibly started. So what do you actually do while all this grinds forward? 3 things. And I want to be clear first about what this is. I'm a real estate broker. I'm not your attorney. This is not legal advice. For your specific unit, you need your AOAO board and a land use attorney. Please don't make a 6-figure decision off of a podcast, any podcast, including this one. With that said, first, read the actual resolution your building is named in, not a summary, the document. The link is in the show notes. 2, ask your board in writing 2 questions. Is our building in the current version? And what, if anything, have we budgeted for the studies a rezoning application requires? Because remember that number? An owner testified that those studies were quoted at $200,000 to $500,000 per property. 3, start gathering your documentation of vacation rental use before September 24th, 2020. That verification seems to be a requirement, and it sounds like it's real, and it's the same no matter which wave you're in. And underneath all of it, the Bill 9 clock keeps running. West Maui, January 1st, 2029. The rest of the county, January 1st, 2031. So here's where I want to leave you. On the list is not rezoned. It is the first 2 steps of a 7-step road with real hearings and real chances for things to change ahead of it. This is not a reason to relax. This is not a reason to panic. It is a reason to read the actual documents, ask your board the right questions, and watch the Planning Commission calendar. I wrote all of this up with links and sources in the companion post on the blog. Go read it, and if I have any of it wrong, tell me, and I will publish a correction. Thanks for tuning in. If you have any comments or questions, drop them below or shoot an email to lee@alohapots.com. I answer every one. And if you like this episode, give us a like and maybe send it on to someone that you know who's thinking about Maui. And if you haven't already, subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything. That's all for now. Hit subscribe. So, from the greatest island on earth, this is Lahaina Lee saying, Aloha! The information provided in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It's not intended as a recommendation to invest in real estate or any other financial asset. We are not financial planners, certified public accountants, or attorneys. You should consult with a qualified professional before making any financial, legal, or investment decisions. All investments carry risk, and past performance is not indicative of future results.